Look, for President Trump, every day is Flag Day. The bigger the American flag, the taller the flagpole, the better.
I've always said, why doesn't it have a flagpole? This is about the largest you'll ever see. That'll be very nice and very patriotic.
But this type of unapologetic, unbridled patriotism drives today's Democrats to the brink. The perpetually whiny publication known as the Daily Beast called the flagpoles a monstrous and tacky change. More on that later. Of course, there are flags that the left pledges allegiance to, like this one and this one. Desecrate either at your own peril. Yet Trump's broad coalition rejects this and favors his America First approach. He wasn't and isn't like all of his Republican predecessors, thank goodness. Both on economic and foreign policy, he's bold, but he's realistic. And he's been consistent on Iran not having nukes.
Is there anybody here that said it would be okay to have a hostile country have a nuclear weapon that could destroy 25 miles, but much more than that, could destroy other nations just by the breeze blowing the dust? This is just not a threat you can have. And we've been threatened by Iran for many years. If you go back and look at my history, if you go back 15 years, I was saying we cannot let Iran get a nuclear weapon. I've been saying it for a long time, and I mean it more now.
And right now, we're all holding our breath, wondering whether America will strike Iran with a bunker buster and what will come next. What does a wider war look like? After all, when you start a military engagement, you don't necessarily know what's going to come up or how it's going to end. Are our military bases vulnerable? And what are the risks of doing nothing? Could be big. Then some of you wonder if Trump is getting talked into this by the same voices that have misled us before. Politico is reporting that one pro-intervention general has a lot of influence at the Pentagon. U.S. CENTCOM Chief General Eric Kurilla, and how others are more skeptical of our getting involved and that those voices are getting edged out. And notwithstanding the fight on the right, the angle believes we need to stay grounded in the America First principles. What are they? Well, number one, we cannot succeed in war, any war, unless our people are on board. Remember, we didn't lose in Iraq and Afghanistan because the soldiers were beaten in battle. We lost because Americans at home saw no path to victory. We got Obama. And right now, Trump knows there is very strong popular support for a narrow objective.
Oppose Iran getting a nuclear weapon. I mean, look at this. 79% of adults agree on that. They agree with Donald Trump. Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. 83% of Republicans, 79% of independents, 79% of Democrats. When you get 79% of Democrats and 83% of Republicans agreeing on anything, you know that that position is the very clear majority in this country. And so the American public is with Donald Trump.
But Americans will not support any war that appears to be endless. There must be a clear goal, and the war must end once that goal is achieved. I was remembering back today, I was flying back from England today, and I remember back in 2016 at the RNC, I was there, then candidate Trump laid waste to his predecessors who got it all wrong.
After 15 years of wars in the Middle East, after trillions of dollars spent and thousands of lives lost, the situation is worse than it has ever been before. We must abandon the failed policy of nation building and regime change. We must work with all of our allies who share our goal of destroying ISIS and stamping out Islamic terrorism. This includes working with our greatest ally in the region, the State of Israel.
Well, he was right then, and can't imagine he feels any differently now. He's still putting out an olive branch to Iran, even tonight. Every president that has overseen a war without a clear victory, going back to President Truman in Korea, has paid a major political cost. That is just the truth. Third, Americans are not going to support a war that hurts the economy. Again, Trump has always known this.
We have spent
more than $7 trillion in fighting wars in the Middle East. As a candidate for president, I loudly pledged a new approach. Great nations do not fight endless wars.
I love how Nancy Pelosi wasn't clapping. Well, that sort of came along. Look, we're already in a major financial hole now because of the trillions we lost in Iraq and Afghanistan. Thus, any action in Iran must not do serious damage to the federal budget, provoke inflation, or drive up interest rates. That all would be a nightmare for Trump and for the country. Number 4, Americans are not going to support a war that weakens our position in the rest of the world. So if a military action in the Middle East means that we are effectively ceding more of Asia to the CCP, that war will not be seen as a success. Thus, any military action should meet the following criteria. You got to have a clear goal. That goal must be militarily achievable without damage to the U.S. economy. That goal must be consistent with our overall policies, including our ability to stand up to the CCP. That goal must be clearly articulated to the American people. Now, when that goal is achieved, the war must end. The end of the war must also be clearly articulated to the American people. None of the vague, mission accomplished nonsense that leads to 15 more years of fighting. So when the war is over, the troops and the weapons come home, and we celebrate, period. So if we have a plan that can meet those criteria, we can succeed. Any plan that does not meet these criteria will fail, no matter how much we want it to work. Hoping and praying and wanting are not the same as winning. Good intentions are not the same as good outcomes. So if you take America into war, into military conflict, then she better win. And if she doesn't, the fact that you tried hard or had good intentions will not save you or your party politically. So God bless President Trump, and God bless our troops tonight. And that's the angle.
Fox News alert, the Ayatollah's gone into hiding. He's believed to be holed up inside an underground bunker northeast of the capital. This is a different kind of Iranian hostage crisis. Khomeini can hide, but he can't run. For the past 24 hours, Israel's been attacking the area around his underground lair. But Khomeini, still talking tough, says Iran will not surrender to anyone, and is warning that if America joins the fight and strikes, it'll result in irreparable damage to the United States. Is he bluffing? We don't know. Iranian proxies, which have been severely degraded, are threatening to commit acts of terror against American troops and American ships in the region. And American businesses are now bracing for cyber attacks. Trump says, good luck with that. We won't be bullied.
I was the hunted, and now I'm the hunter. There's a big difference. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it. I give up. No more. Then we go blow up all the, all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore.
Trump's been meeting in the Situation Room with his national security team. Head of Central Command, Army General Eric Kurilla, they call him the Gorilla, has been instrumental in the war planning. The Pentagon's sending in their new state-of-the-art supercarrier, the USS Gerald Ford, and amassing a tremendous amount of assets in the area. Today, Trump had lunch with Pakistan's army chief. Pakistan borders Iran. Seems like something's about to happen. Trump's not showing his cards yet.
Whether you are moving closer or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities. Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question. Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do.
And this is just breaking. The Wall Street Journal is reporting Trump privately approved attack plans against Iran. Now, we don't know what these plans entail, but we're told they include U.S. airstrikes. Unsure if that includes bunker busters. Remember, the latest version of the bunker buster has never been used on the battlefield. It's only been tested. Axios reports that Trump has been quizzing his generals. Are they sure if he uses them, they'll be 100% effective? The generals say yes, but Trump's not completely convinced. Caroline Leavitt says all options remain on the table. Trump's been waiting on giving the final order, seeing if the Iranians give up and surrender their nuke program peacefully. Sources in D.C. say Trump's out of patience and Iran's up against the clock.
I believe that unless Iran surrenders in the next 48 hours, the United States, in conjunction with Israel, will engage in military action.
Trump says the Iranians want to fly all the way to the White House to negotiate an end to this. But he says it's too late. He doesn't appear to be open to long, drawn-out negotiations where he gets strung along like last time.
We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
Trump's made a decision. Iran's nuclear program is gone. The person who ultimately decides that is the Ayatollah. He can either let us do it peacefully or we'll do it violently. But either way, the outcome of this war is this. The Iranians will never be able to acquire a nuclear weapon, ever. But time's running out for both sides. Israel's reportedly running low on defensive interceptors, and Iran's reportedly running low on missiles. Iran's also running out of allies. They don't have any friends left in the region. And China, their biggest customer, quiet. And Putin, he has his own problems.
And I spoke to him yesterday, and I said, he actually offered to help mediate. I said, do me a favor. Mediate your own. Let's mediate Russia first, okay? I said, Vladimir, let's mediate Russia first. You can worry about this later.
The Persians are pinned up against the wall. They've been completely humiliated by a tiny Jewish nation, a fraction of the size of Iran. And now the Daily Wire is reporting that the Mossad set up a fake hotline in Iran and ordered top Iranian military officials into an emergency meeting. And the generals were lured into a small bunker in Tehran before Israel wiped them out with a precision airstrike. And inside of the country, you're starting to see unrest. Sanctions have crippled their economy so badly that workers are rioting over delayed payments. Manufacturers are striking over high inflation. Schools, cement factories, and pharmaceutical plants are shutting down. The Iranian currency is getting shredded. And Israel's hitting Iranian energy infrastructure, which is going to create price shocks and shortages. So with the streets teetering and its military commanders assassinated, a nuke might be the Ayatollah's only hope. No one really knows how fast they could spin up a device and strap it into a warhead, but Trump says they're only a few weeks away. Back in March, Tulsi Gabbard said the Iranians were enriching uranium at record levels.
In the past year, we've seen an erosion of a decades-long taboo in Iran on discussing nuclear weapons in public, likely emboldening nuclear weapons advocates within Iran's decision-making apparatus. Iran's enriched uranium stockpile is at its highest levels and is unprecedented for a state without nuclear weapons.
So will the United States end Iran's nuclear program with a 30,000-pound bunker buster? Or can Israel end it themselves? Israel admits they have options. They could knock out the power plants that run the underground nuke facility. And since they control the air, Israeli commandos could be inserted and fight their way in and then detonate the site with dynamite. If America does it, there would be consequences, nuclear contamination, and internationally there could be some fallout, though I'm sure Trump could handle it. Either way, the Iranians would retaliate and the United States would have to go back onto a war footing in the Middle East. The whole world's watching. It's the biggest moment of the Trump presidency. China and Russia surveying the scene, and so are our trade partners. We're at this moment in history because of Obama and Biden. They signed a toothless nuke deal that let the Iranians keep enriching and let them keep their ballistic missiles, and paid them billions of dollars, which they used to finance their war machine and proxies. Proxies which have been killing Americans for decades. Marines in Beirut, soldiers in Iraq, and taking Americans hostage in Gaza and inside of Iran. American deterrence, backed by the threat of violence, is what maintains order in the world. And sometimes there comes a time when the commander-in-chief has to use force to nourish the deterrence and keep the American people safe. Is this one of those times? We're about to find out.
Right now, as the Middle East boils over, everyone's asking the same question. What do you call it when you raise a flagpole? A lifting?
They call it a lifting. They also use another word, but I'm not going to use that word. You know what that is? The word, it starts with an E. You know what the word is? If I ever used it, I'd be run out of town.
We don't deserve him. We don't deserve him. But the other big question is, what does America first mean? Does it mean cleaning up our yard before focusing on others? Or is it about protecting us long term by turning Iran's nuke facilities into a giant kebabs are us? So which way is Trump leaning? At the very least, he's not like the last guy who would just fall over. But Trump ran on America first, and it means let's fix America first. A lot of people will drink to that. Or in Kamala's case, it's a coincidence. But it's pretty clear Trump's already fulfilling that mission. Look at the border, inflation, DOGE, bringing back industry, paring down regulations. It's not like he just got in and said, first things first, let's bomb the goat-loving mullahs out of Iran. I think we can agree that even if Trump's looking at Iran, his first priority is America, and he's weighing the options in the Middle East based on our interests first. But right now, the right's tearing each other to shreds. Because America first is now like Ozempic. Everybody has their opinion and no one's going to shut up about it. Just stop eating.
True.
Yeah. On one side, you got a crowd that says no more wars. Fair enough. Meanwhile, the other team says if Iran gets nukes, guess who's target number 2 after Israel? I'll give you a hint. It ain't Scotland. Too many sexy goats. Yum, yum. Look at that one. Of course, Iran would get annihilated with our nukes if they tried, but still, it's America's toughest choice since whether or not to deport the beaver on Maxine Waters' head. It's not just a war between Iran and Israel, you know. It's a war between frames of reference. You got one frame, which is we can't have another Holocaust, and we can't let a country that wants to destroy us have nukes, and we shouldn't let our ocean privilege hang an important ally out to dry. Then there's this frame of reference. We can't make the same damn mistakes again, like when we were lied to about WMDs, or when we're told that we would be greeted as liberators. We never are, lately. Plus, we have Ukraine to deal with. Whatever the outcome of joining a war against Iran is, a lot of Trump voters will think, I didn't vote for this. The only good news is that our frame of references are no longer plagued with opinions assigned to us by legacy media. They're irrelevant. No one buys their Thanks to Trump's transparency and a vibrant independent media, it's just us trying to figure this thing out. We elected Trump to handle stuff from a Trumpian perspective. And so far, he's doing that. He told the Ayatollah the 5 best words to make anyone nervous. I know where you live. It's a great prank. I send that to Killmeat all the time from anonymous email accounts. He has to move hotels every week. So Trump is doing Trump. He's stingy with blood and treasure, looking to avoid an all-out war so far. But also, you know, he sees Israel differently. To him, Israel earned it. They're doing the work instead of showing up with hat in hand. And it's not like they're delusional. Last time we checked, people do want them dead. But unlike the rabid neocons of the past, Trump does wonder what comes next. We do too. So can we say what America first means now? Do we protect our own by staying out or by stepping in before it's too late? Maybe it's defending your allies without sacrificing your sons, meaning you only go in if we're going to win, and win easily. That feels very Trumpian to me, in that the best war is the one that you win, you know, just by showing up for a friend. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He says life is a highway because he lives under a bridge. Founder of StudioTSD.com, Michael Loftus. As She's a former locker room reporter. She's seen more men's junk than Fred Sanford. Host of the Self-Deployment podcast, Michelle Deploya. Her baby already wants to ban the Fed. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tuve. And they had to use the Space Needle for his tetanus shot. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion Tyrus. Loftus, you know, if Trump or America strikes Iran, it may end up as a pile of rubble. As someone who lives currently in similar conditions, do you empathize with Iran? What side are you on?
I don't like to think of myself as a rubble dweller, as I'm mortgage deficient.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I have an allergic reaction.
You are roof challenged.
Yes, I am drywall challenged. I just want to know, how long are we supposed to act concerned? Because, like, Americans aren't going over. There's not going to be boots on the ground. So, like, Israel's going in, knocking out the nuke facilities and the scientists, and we have to be like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. I'm okay with all of this. Absolutely all of it. It's not like Israel's, like, stopping Iceland from getting a nuke, right?
Yeah.
Iceland is... They have things like the wheel, and fire, and cable television. And like Iran seems like they skipped a bunch of steps.
Yeah.
Right? Like
well, they were almost there, and then they went back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think you need to put up a few decades of, like, we have Blockbuster Video. You know? Show us that you can participate in polite society before you go for the top rung of we want nukes.
I'm not sure where you stand on this issue, though, because you're saying you're okay with bombing him, but we're not getting involved.
Right.
Okay.
It's like we're letting Israel borrow our lawnmower.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to bring it back, and
There
the
you
grass is going to be cut.
Yes. Michelle, I'm sure you have friends on both sides of this debate. Where do you land? Do you land anywhere? Do you land on the fence, which can be harmful to your bowel?
Yes, it can, and you would know that. You would be the expert on bowels. He is. So, you know what? Here's the Marjorie Taylor Greene posted this. Anyone slobbering for the U.S. to become fully involved in the Israel-Iran war is not America First MAGA. Okay. I didn't know America First meant America only. I don't think it does. And by the way, Iran hates us too.
Yeah.
At least the Ayatollah does. He'd like to dispense with the big Satan just as much as the little Satan. So this is not just Israel's war, in my opinion. And by the way, as you mentioned, they have done a staggeringly good job, Israel, of going in and taking out all these pinpoint attacks and these targeted, deaths. It's been amazing. So they've laid the groundwork. It's not like we're going in and we're leading the way. Yeah. Now, they may need our bunker busters, and I'm all for it. I really am. And if we want to take out the Ayatollah, hey, he's 89. He doesn't have much more time anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that the big percentage of Iranians want their old life back. They want to be part of the modern world. And they are kind of with Israel on that. They have that in common. None of them like the Ayatollah. They're just under the jackboots. So I think we're on the precipice, Greg, of a world-changing moment. And I think we should take it and grab it by the horns and go.
All right, Cats. I can feel Cat trying to pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, right? That's what you're doing right now, huh, Cat?
Yeah, my take is completely on the side of we stay out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any reason for us to be involved, and reasons that Iran is bad is not a reason for us to get involved, or that things would even get better if we did get involved. If you look at Libya, you look at Afghanistan, you look at Iraq, you look at Syria, didn't go so well for us. It's the same playbook. It's the same fear-mongering. We're all going to die, making people so afraid. A lot of people are motivated by fear in calling for this. Some people are motivated by money in calling for this. many of the people calling for this will not have to go over themselves if it does end up in a boots on the ground situation, which is something that I am concerned about. I don't want anyone's son to have to go die for another country's war, including my own, even though he's only 4 months old. Based on our history in this region, it could very much still be a concern by the time that he turns 18, okay? And I know that people are saying we're just gonna get in and get out. I don't see any reason to believe that. I see many more reasons to believe that there would be even more calls for intervention when things collapse. I think that people calling for intervention on this are going to continue to call for more intervention in the future. And I just would encourage everyone to be skeptical. I understand being
I think
afraid.
we've been burned before with WMDs and stuff like that. But let me ask you one question before I move on to Tyrus. Is there a situation where you could see America enjoining any war?
Yes, but I think that saying there should be no war ever, that's not what I'm talking about. This is this very same playbook that we see. I don't see, I mean, just 3 months ago, Tulsi Gabbard said that Iran's not building a nuclear weapon. There are many more reasons to be skeptical than there are reasons to hop on board with this. And the people who say, okay, just this intervention, how long have they been saying just this intervention? Many of these same people. I have every reason to believe that just this intervention is the first, and many more times they're going to say, okay, just this one. And calling for intervention now is, to me, the clearest sign that they'll call for further.
Tyrus, what say you?
Let's get them. We've had... I don't know the exact numbers, but I believe 43 Americans have been killed with what happened with October 7th. We still have hostages out there. They tried to assassinate our president. They had 4 years to basically rebuild their nuclear stuff. That's why it's so deep at the bottom of the mountain. We don't know what they have in there. There is a weapon of mass destruction because they had 60 days to fix this. And they got comfortable in 4 years being able to do whatever they want. They built up their resources. They could have gone on to do other positive things, but what do? They loaded up Hamas, they loaded up Hezbollah. That's their army, and they decided to invade Israel. So America, how many times do we have to get little hits in the face? To all the people who lost their family members, to all the people who were waiting every night to see if their hostages were going to come home, or the ones that got home in the body bag. We always say one American death is too many. They tried to assassinate our president. That's another thing. At what point is it time to say, Iran, your time is up. It's time to make you new Persia. And if we bring those big, beautiful bombs, as he calls them, and place them in the right place, and their little mountaintop is gone, they have nothing left. They're down to this is the time where you need to support Israel, because Israel deals with a real existential threat every day. And Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan are all in line this time. Everybody on the region wants peace, but there's one small little one. Syria ain't Syria anymore. Turkey ain't Turkey anymore. So Iran needs to become Iran. Past tense.
All right. A diversity of opinion here on Gutfeld. You don't see that anywhere else. Certainly not on Fox. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Joking. Up next, Capitol Hill's crying clown. You're going to love this.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.